What is Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black Uchiha, 3 long face, skinny pop, and we are back still black with some more fire boards or manga related content. Now, before we get in the video, you already know the dealio. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, share the video with your friends, and let's get straight to the business. Just Sersky.
9 mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. 1 chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
Okay, so Boruto chapter 26, bro. When I tell y'all endless plot points, but very intriguing plot points, I guess you can say we expect it, but with the twist that typically falls under the typical Ikimoto trend. Something that we didn't expect going along or tagging along to something that everybody, was anticipating to happen, right? Everybody wants Damon versus MaMushi. I want Damon versus Jura, but it's been in the talks. We finally got in chapter 26 motion from both of these characters being in both Damon and in my guy MaMushi, who typically, if we're being honest, 2 of the most characters who have done the least within this entirety of TBV run. But the setup is there. And then the twist that comes along with it is the obvious cliffhanger of Damon versus Sarada. Now, we're going to have a Damon versus Sarada discussion coming up shortly, right? But for the mere fact, I've said this in the review, I've said this on the pod, I don't really think this fight is going to play out how most people are anticipating it to play out. Now, if the fight actually does span out, I'm here for it, and I'm here to see the results that we're gonna get. But for the most part, I'm along the lines that this fight isn't really, it's like a teaser, but more so just like a shifting of our attention, a shifting of our direction, just to get our minds off the fact that Mamushi is gonna be the one to step to this guy, Damon. Basically, there are 2 battles, really. I guess you could say 2 direct battles that are set up within these last 2 chapters, Boruto chapter 25 and Boruto chapter 26. 2 battles, and unironically, 2 of the possible more of the greater or stronger battles in the series up until this point have been going underway. Now, we got anticipations within chapter 25 of MoMoshiki versus this guy Jura, and then in chapter 26 we got Damon versus this guy Mimushi. Now, we know, according to Kashin Koji, he saw the future a couple chapters back when Boruto and Kabuki was moving with the Air Force Black energy, right? He saw the future, we saw the future. So in situations where we see Inojin and random spots kind of, I guess you could say, start to make a little bit more sense, but hasn't been fully answered, because we know Inojin is right there in the hideout with both Koji and Boruto. So it makes sense he's in the midst of things going down, but we still see figures like Shigadai's jacket, we see Himawari in the middle of things, we see Hidari, we see Sarada with her Mangekyo, we see my guy Damon's head. We see his hair, the design is Damon, right? And then, of course, we see Mamushi in the flash forward sequence as well. So it's inevitable. Mamushi's target is Ada. Ada's brother is Damon. Damon is top dog in a verse. So, of course, he's gonna grab this man by his beard and put his face in the dirt bars, right? So, I'm really excited to see how things will play out. Like I said, at chapter 27, I think we're gonna stay on this street level things that I've been talking about with these last couple of weeks. Street level issues, street level politics, you know what I'm saying? Keep us real grounded before we start shooting off into Mamushi and Damon blasting each other to oblivion. And then my guy Jura and MoMoshiki out here trying to shoot each other into the stars. So a lot of anticipations, highly anticipated, but these are the next 2 battles we can expect coming up in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. I'm calling it here. This is just like I can't call it a prediction video, but based off of the analysis of the last chapter, last 2 chapters, if we want to take everything into a core, I can see the setup, right? Because this is the second chapter in the volume. We got chapter 27 and 28 to end off. Within chapters 27 and 28, we are going to see either Damon versus Mamushi or MoMoshiki versus Jura. Now, I think the MoMoshiki side, right, because we could just shift our focus over here for a little bit, I think this is going to be set up in a way where everybody at least gets 1 bout against Jura before the final bout against Jura goes down. And I mean by that is because we've already seen Himawari versus Jura. We saw Kabuki go against Jura twice, if you want to count the first ass whooping he got. And then, of course, we see my guy Boruto go against Jura twice, if you want to count the first ass whooping he got as well, right? But everybody initially got their 1s against Jura. So it's kind of like a thing where, like, okay, we know this character is really strong. Maybe they can beat Jura. They lose. Okay, this character is really strong. Maybe they can beat Jura. they lose. Okay, this character is really strong. Maybe they can beat Jura, and they lose. So it's just running down the gauntlet right now, right? So that's basically what Jura's doing, and I think MoMoshiki will be the last ones he gets before ultimately he gets jumped. Now, as for how to defeat Jura, hey, you're asking the wrong guy, and this is the wrong video to come to that type of conclusion. But I will say this, though. I don't think he can be killed with conventional means. I think he has to either be A, absorbed, or B, sealed. Those are the only two ways to get rid of this guy, Jura, because at the end of the day, he's a walking humanoid incarnation of the Ten Tails, who in turn is literally a straight up physical manifestation of just simply chakra. You know what I'm saying? Albeit yin chakra, yang chakra, all 5 chakra natures, just dense and high density chakra. That's what Jura is. So how do you kill that? Right? We saw Kawaki stab this man through the brain, and it had no effect. We saw Boruto cut off his legs, probably slicing a couple of important arteries. He didn't bleed out. So there's going to be an unconventional way to get rid of this guy, Jura. But I believe that MoMoshiki versus Jura, that's going to be a little gateway to us, right? Where MoMoshiki probably decides, well, yeah, I'm throwing the ones with this guy. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard to kill him, but I know exactly how to do this because simply of his history and lore as an Otsutsuki member. Will we get more backdoor ways to learn more about the Ten Tails? Backdoor ways to learn about more of the Otsutsuki clan? There's a whole lot of different ways we can go about it with just a simple interaction between both Jura and MoMoshiki. But if I had to choose between the bout, like I said, I believe that Damon versus MaMushi is going to be something we see unfold before our eyes first, right? One, we haven't seen MaMushi do anything yet. Everybody's been dying to see Damon fight again since he embarrassed Code. So I believe that will be the first main focus that we get, and then it will ultimately lead into MoMoshiki versus Jura. MoMoshiki versus Jura is going to be set up in a very interesting way. Now, I have a very good question for you guys, right? So, first of all, it's just sticking with the Damon side, right? Damon and MaMushi, how do you guys think this fight will pan out, right? Because we understand Damon is a whole entire completely different situation, and in the midst of everything going down right now, Kasha Koji said MaMushi will make his move in about a week. So I'm pretty sure Damon and Sarada aren't going to be death staring each other down just for a week straight until MaMushi pulls up. So there's going to be some type of interruption, most likely in Ada calling off Damon, but I believe some dialogue to kind of dwindle down that situation before we see MaMushi pop up randomly. It's going to be interesting because Damon's been by Ada's side 24/7. Can we get a moment where Damon just this once drops his guard? He gets interested in a Pokemon card game, whatever video games him and Boruto been playing. He sees a new release in the store window. He just decides to stop by that one time, and that one time MaMushi decides to pop up at their house and he is not there. So it's really interesting to see how they can set up that fight. But now for the MoMoshiki and Jura bout, I think, one, it will be connected to the Damon and MaMushi bout because MaMushi's assault and attack on Konoha will inevitably, push for Boruto to, make his entrance and appearance into the Konoha village. And then ultimately, in turn, Jura will make his appearance, similar to how we've seen in the Sand Village. But I guess you could say, just to dumb it down, because there's going to have to be a lot more in-betweens, a lot more deets, right, to get everything nice and juicy and ready for us on the plate. Pause. But I do believe that once Boruto sees Jura again, then at that moment, he will either A, call on MoMoshiki, or MoMoshiki might surprise us and say, gotcha, bitch, it was me the entire time. How? So Jura versus MoMoshiki is going to be interesting as well. And I don't see too many people talking about it because I believe all of us have common sense, but something I just wanted to note because I feel it in the back of my head, somebody probably wouldn't understand. MoMoshiki was never gassed up to be stronger than Baryon Naruto, stronger than Ishiki. Naruto needed Baryon to beat Ishiki. MoMoshiki didn't pop out until Ishiki died. So how is it all of a sudden, right, we got this guy Jura, the strongest of the strong, and now we're relying on MoMoshiki to defeat him? Well, it's just obvious because Boruto has upped his strength, upped his physical physique, body levels, chakra levels to a point where MoMoshiki adding his power onto that type of Boruto will make him automatically stronger at any point in his life than he's ever been, whether it be regular MoMoshiki, fused MoMoshiki with Kenshiki, or the Borushiki we saw pop up at the end of Naruto Next Generations and not only tried to kill Naruto, almost killed Code, and then almost killed Kabuki before Boruto intervened. This is going to be a stronger MoMoshiki than any of those versions we have ever seen, simply because of the fact that Boruto spent these last 3 gruesome years doing gruesome training in order to prepare himself for a situation where he wouldn't have to rely on Momoshiki's power. Now, all of that training, and then he still has to rely on Momoshiki's power. Momoshiki's about to come out a beast. Now, if this is going to be a bout of a 1v1, I'm not sure. I don't think Jura is just Boruto's villain to defeat. I think that's going to be a tag team for both Boruto and Kawaki. So like I said, Jura's been running a gauntlet. His next fight most likely will be Momoshiki. And then after that, we might see a tag team of both Kawaki and Boruto versus this guy Jura in order to end it all off for good. But Momoshiki has to get his wands first. And I think that's going to be next battle of the one of the two next battles that we get. But for sure, Damon versus Mamushi and Jura versus Momoshiki is really getting litty, and I'm looking forward to it. It's like a bout of the strongest for me, honestly, right? Once we get to more towards endgame, once we get some more Kawaki versus Boruto stuff, more Karma Seals, more Ishiki's power, more Jogans, then yeah. But for right now, this is what we have, and this is what we're going to be playing with on the card. So let me know how y'all feel about it. Upcoming chapters: Damon versus Mamushi and Jura versus Momoshiki. Any anticipations? Any guess? And any thoughts on how you think any fight would play out, or if these fights are even going to manage to play out within this next two chapters to close off this volume? It's your boy Black Shia 3. Let me know how y'all feel about the video. Let me know how y'all feel about these next two upcoming battles. Until my next video, holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all. Black Shia out. Yes, sir. Ski.